Robbing fruit machines, or the illegal ways and methods of taking every single pound coin and note out of a machine illegally, was a term that had been floating around for the few years that I've been playing fruit machines. I was open to the darker side, or the other ways of getting a massive, huge profit day in, day out, week in, week out. And that was something which, I'll be honest with you, did tempt me. I mean, I had the opportunity to get involved, and I had the temptation, my own thoughts, thinking the amount of money, the scale of money that I could earn. Just do it for a couple of years and then just retire. But I'll be honest with you, I never ever got involved. I was too scared. I was too worried about getting caught, and I was too worried about the consequences. And I do think, to this day, that there has to be a calibre of people. You have to have something in you to be able to go out and be able to walk into a pub or a venue and stick a device in the machine, throw a bar up it, crowbar the side of it open, whatever it might be, in order to do it. And I reckon that nature becomes quite addictive. I reckon the adrenaline rush, I reckon the thrill of knowing that you're doing something that's not right, but the reward is huge, I reckon is quite intense. I think that gets you quite addicted to robbing machines. And I've heard countless stories ever since I started of ways and methods of machines being robbed, and there'll be plenty of episodes talking about them. Just to give you a sort of an idea before I get into this episode, you might well drill a little hole in the note changer. You might well crowbar the side open of a Red Gaming and stick a little lollipop stick with a little net on the end and throw £2 coins to catch him, clock up credits. You might stick a little electrical device through the vent on the side of a 500 to make it dump all its money, or to click up credits. You might well create a plastic note, sometimes the length of an arm, and stick it through this note changer. There's been countless ways, including tools that have been shoved up pay slots over the years, of making money through robbing. And this episode is going to lead on to a particular event and series of times which actually ended a company, a huge national company that supplied fruit machines around the UK. Now, when we talk about a supplier, we don't talk about this company at the top here, QPS. These are the designers of the machine. The suppliers are the people that buy them and then push them out into the pubs. So in this day and age, we have companies such as Inspired Gaming, which used to be called GamesTech. They release iPubs and prismatics to the pub all across the UK. We have Regal, which got hit heavy in 2018 and a few years before and afterwards, actually. And they supply blueprints. You have SX Leisure, which are a huge company now, do a lot of machines around London. You used to have Capital Coin, Bob Rudd. You had LeisureLink, Claremont Leisure. So many companies have come and gone over the years that used to supply machines. Some of them had a lot of money behind them. They chipped their machines quick. Others let things slip through the net. And one way or another, each company has lost money. They've made a hell of a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but they've lost money. And the reason for that is because of people creating devices and creating tools to rob machines. So all that said and done leads on to the story of the skeleton key with Sceptre, the Scepton skeleton key. And when I saw this happen, I must admit, I was very jealous. I was very, very jealous of the amount of money this one individual earned in one pub in Aldershot, a place called North Camp. And I know a few people have commented saying, I live in North Camp, I've lived in Aldershot, which pub is it? I can't remember the name of it. I think it was actually just called the North Camp, or just North Camp. I'm pretty sure that was the name of the pub, and there was one just up the road from it, literally like a couple of yards next door. But I've not been up those ways in ages, and I can't remember. I don't even know if it still exists, but it was up there, and this is where the Sceptre skeleton key came around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to load some money into this full metal jackpot on the left, because this machine here was one of the machines that was in the pub at the time which got robbed. And I'm going to juice it up, ready for jackpot. And then what I'll do is I'll play it as a separate clip and talk over it, because I can't multitask and I want you to be able to see some sort of action while I'm talking. These two here are clones both made by QPS, and as you can see, pretty much identical and look very similar to a Betcom, don't they? I'll leave that with you, what you think about that. All right, I'll bring you back in a second with some action on Full Metal Jackpot, and I'll continue the story about the Sceptre Skeleton Key. Right, I've juiced this game up. This is Jackpot ready now. So you'll see this play in the background as I talk. Now, the Sceptre Skeleton Key then. No ideas how this came about, but someone has managed to get hold of a key which opens every single machine that was supplied by Sceptre. And this key was a skeleton key, as it says. I mean, like, it has the ability to open every single machine, whereas in this day and age, you know, each machine is independently different, the lock. They might well have some anti-fraud measures by putting a bar across the bottom. But basically, this key allowed you to access every single coin and note that was in the bottom of the fruit machine. Now, at the very bottom of the fruit machine was like a little square. If you can imagine, at the bottom of the fruit machine is a little square bit of timber, a bit of wood, part of the fruit machine that you can just stick your key in, and when you turn it, it unlocks, and you can sort of lever it to yourself, towards you. And you can actually lift it out of its like groove at the bottom and remove the whole thing to access the whole bottom of that fruit machine. Now, Sceptre at the time had just an open box where the notes fell into it. Like, the modern technology now allows notes to be collected in a proper collector all together and like neatly. That wasn't the case back then. Notes just fall and fell into a bucket at the bottom, and same with the coins. So what you could actually do on certain fruit machines is that you could find out when the collector for that company was coming around to collect its weekly profits. And what you could do is go there the day before, and this is what this individual did. So I was in this pub called North Camp watching this guy who I've never seen before rob all 4 machines in less than 10 minutes. I actually went in there to go and play a Cluedo. It wasn't a Cluedo, it was a clone of a Cluedo called Monopoly. Monopoly Here and Now. There's been a previous episode on Cluedos, so check it out if you haven't, but it was a great little money earner back in the day. But I'm going in there to make myself 20-30 quid. And he's gone in there to take every single note that is accumulated in these machines across a week on all 4 machines. And he was with another guy who was built like a brick shithouse. Big 6 foot something guy, big old beard. He must have been wearing 17 coats. But he's a big lad anyway, and he was known as the blocker. And all he did was blocked the view from the bar and cameras if he could, whilst the other guy opened up the bottom of the machine, and then he leant in and grabbed all the notes. It took no longer than 5 seconds. If the game was playable, then what you could actually do is stick loads of notes in and play it for free, because you can juice the machine up through the use of your notes, collect all the coins out, because back then they didn't pay out notes, collect every single pound coin out. So the machine now was like 105 quid short, say, because you got a jackpot and it's or mega streak and it's done a 105. And then all you do is just get your notes out at the bottom. So there's ways of getting all the coins and all the notes out of each machine in that pub. And that's what these two did. They took out all the coins out of 4 machines, and they took all the notes. I actually then left the pub as they left, because for me, I was like a little bit pissed off that I went all that way to play a Monopoly to make 20 quid or whatever I was going to make on it. And this guy just stormed in and just, stole the light and all the money to go along with it. And I watched him leave the pub, and I actually cornered him. And he was a bit taken out, like shocked, like that I'd stopped him. He'd never seen me before. I think he might have thought that he'd been caught or something, but I said to him, look mate, I've seen what you've done. I'm not fussed. I was here to play the Monopoly. As soon as I said that, he knew that I was a player, and he sort of like chilled out a little bit. And I asked him how much he made, and he went, not that good. And he opened up his coat, on the inside pocket of his coat, and just pulled out the inner pocket, and there was a wedge of notes. Must have been 4,000 to 6,000 quid there. Like literally couldn't believe how much there was. And he went, that's how much it was. And he goes, but this pub normally is a bit more than that. Like, this pub is a really busy pub. Machines get absolutely rode in there constantly. And he was very disappointed about the amount of money that he had just earned in 10 minutes or half an hour or an hour, whatever it was. And yeah, I was completely and utterly in awe of that and jealous. I'll be honest with you, I was jealous with the amount of money he just earned. The risk was there. He was paying his mate or going halves with his mate. I don't know how they did it, but he earned a lot of money. And then what happened was Sceptre actually continued to get robbed for a long time. And for some reason, they never ever changed their key. They could have invested quite a bit of money and just changed all the locks or put a bar across it or done something to prevent this from happening. And these were getting robbed, like, not just in this one place, like all over the UK in the end. In the end, after that, what they actually did was they would put their own padlocks on. So they actually padlocked the bottom. And all people did after that was just cut the padlocks off and put their own padlock on. And they literally went in there with a little some bolt croppers, and just cut their padlock, Sceptre's padlock off, and put their own padlock on. Now what this meant was that, firstly, the engineer that used to come around and collect the money couldn't get access to the bottom. And secondly, they didn't fix the fact that the bucket was still open. That was the main problem here. People were getting access to the bottom to get really easy access to the notes that were in the bottom. So yeah, that's what they did. They just put their own padlock on. They cut the old padlock off and put their own padlock on. And then they used to get away for weeks and weeks after that, just taking money out. In the end, Sceptre actually did upgrade their anti-fraud measures and did put in place some different forms of like prevention. I think they changed the actual notey and the coin bucket. But ultimately, Sceptre lost so much money. And believe me or not, they went bust. Along with a lot of other companies, went bust. And they were getting robbed other ways, as other methods, different fruit machines with different noties were getting done. They lost a lot of money, and the company went under. I believe Regal bought them out in the end. So yeah, a very different style video, a little bit of a different take on the potential of how much money can be earned through the illegal forms of robbing, and something which to this day a part of me feels like, what if I took that journey and what would have happened to me over 16 years or whatever, well, probably another 14 years of playing? Where would I be now, and what would I be done? Well, thank you ever so much for watching this one. A slightly different version, different episode, but it is part of the story of my journey. Please whack in the comments any sort of stories you have about Sceptre. Did you do the Sceptre skeleton key? Did you have one? Or were you just robbing noties and putting bars up fruits, or crowbar on the side open? I'll see you in the next one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Much love. Ta-da.